Check out this video if you want to learn more about clear hearing, also known as clairaudience. And be sure to stick right to the end of the video to learn the one tip that you can use to help you develop your clairaudience. Hey, I'm Amanda from theintuitivelife.com, holistic health practitioner, spiritual coach, and past life regression facilitator, working with women to bust through their energetic blocks and finally live their soul purpose. If you're watching this video, it may be because you're intrigued by psychic or intuitive development. Maybe clairs have been popping up in conversation, or it's just something that you've seen for the first time today. Or maybe you've started to notice that there's a voice in your head and it's kind of freaking you out. I've been there. Hopefully you've checked out my last video, the one on claircognizance, that explained what a clair really is. And if you haven't done that yet, I will put that link in the description box below and right here on your screen so that you can go watch that right now. And when you're done, come on back and we can go over clairaudience. It's okay. I'll wait. Okay, so let's talk about clairaudience. And this is my favorite clair to talk about because it's my most dominant clair. I'm not one of those people who have a really cool story to share about how when they were 4 years old, they just knew and they were psychic and they were talking to their dead grandparent. I'm not that person, all right? That didn't start happening to me until like early 20s. So don't worry if you're watching this and things are just starting to fall into place for you. It can literally happen at any time. So clairaudience is when you receive information by hearing it. And I really want to specify that in most cases, this is the sound of your own voice. It kind of sounds or kind of feels like you're just talking to yourself. Very rarely does it come across as an outside voice, as if like someone were beside you talking to you. Most cases, it's all in your head, which is another reason why it's so freaky. And I also want to clarify, this voice is never hurtful or obnoxious or rude. It's never any of those things. When you hear that, that's in most cases your own ego. Your clairaudient voice is always loving and supportive, just like if you were to talk to your angels and guides. Now, a few signs that you may be clairaudient are you learn best by hearing, whether that's audiobooks or by listening to someone communicate something to you instead of just reading it. It's not unusual for you to hear your name being called when there is literally no one else around. That one kind of freaks you out too, doesn't it? Another sign you may be clairaudient is if you start hearing songs in your head. And I don't mean like if you start listening to the radio and then you come home and the last song you listen to is playing in your head. That's not what I mean. What I mean is if you are thinking about something or you've asked a question about something and you suddenly realize that there's a song playing in your head. Please take this opportunity to pick that apart. Okay, that is a message. And notice if it's the whole song, if it's just a certain like 2 or 3 lines that are replaying over and over and over, because there's an answer in there somewhere. Also notice if it is maybe a song that always reminds you of a deceased parent or grandparent, for example, because that could also just be them popping in to say hi and they're playing the song so that you can know that they're there. Another sign to know if you are clairaudient, which is probably for me the most annoying part of being clairaudient, is that you are very sensitive to frequencies. For example, if you are at Walmart and you're at one end of the store and all of a sudden you hear a buzzing and you're looking around and nobody else is phased, I'll have you know that is the sound of the back door being open when they're unloading a truck. And you can hear it across the store and it's driving you mental. When you pick up on those kind of frequencies, you're most likely clairaudient. And it's not only things like buzzing. It could be ringing in your ears. It could be when you have ringing in one ear and it just kind of like goes into the other and then disappears. You could just randomly hear like static noise, kind of like TV, like on Poltergeist, just having that static noise. And it becomes normal to you. You don't really even notice that it's happening. You may also be very sensitive to places that are very noisy, large crowds, going to a pub or an airport, because there's so many things happening all over the place, and there's different conversations, there's different noises. It just feels like a lot. You may find that you are overwhelmed in areas like that. For example, when I go to a pub, I cannot sit underneath the TV because all I can hear is the sound, the hum of the TV running, and it drives me mental. And another sign that you may be clairaudient is if you notice that you talk to yourself a lot. And not only if you talk to yourself, but if you find that you're also answering yourself. Having little conversations with yourself in your head is a good sign you're clairaudient. Let me know in the comments if this sounds exactly like you. And if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to hit like. You can also learn about the other clairs by clicking on the link in the description box below. Pick up your copy of Revive Your Intuitive Abilities workbook. This workbook goes over clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, clairtangency, and clairaudience. It reviews the clairs, it gives you exercises to help you develop each clair, and also provides you with journal prompts so that you can not only tune into yourself and really assess your practice, but also see how far you've come and realize how intuitive you really are. Now you've made it this far, and I'm going to deliver on my promise. What is one exercise you can do to help you develop your clairaudience? It is to listen to music or eavesdrop on other people's conversations. So if you are listening to music, tune in to one specific instrument and try to listen to the song beginning to end, listening to that one instrument the entire time. It really helps you to tune in to specific sounds and tune out all the other noise. And in this case, the other noise would be the other instruments or the vocals. That's a really good exercise to do. And you know what, a bonus tip, because it just popped in my head, is tarot cards. This is actually what helped me develop my clairaudience. Before I knew what clairs were, before I knew that I could just develop things, and before I knew that it was normal to have voices in your head. Playing with tarot cards, I would ask the question, pull a few cards, and the visual of the card really helped me to kind of trigger my intuitive abilities. But that is when I first started to realize that the first thing that happens when I pick up and look at a card is that I hear what is happening. I hear what is happening. I was going to say audibly, but that's one, I don't know if that's a word. And two, hearing and audibly are the same thing. So if you have a deck of tarot cards or even oracle cards nearby, I personally prefer tarot cards for it, but whatever works for you, whatever you have on hand, you can absolutely use cards to help you develop your intuition as well. And on this channel, we talk about all things metaphysical, intuitive development, woo-woo. So if that's something you're interested in, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to be notified of future videos. If you're just getting started with learning about clairs, then be sure to check out my previous video on clairtangency. It's all about clear touch, and in my opinion, is the easiest clair to get started with. And I really feel like it helps you develop your other clairs without you even realize that you're doing it. So I'll put the link for that video in the description box below for you to check out.